Peace, blessings, much respect, much love. It's your boy, the Ghetto Guru, aka Shango, coming back with a spiritual message. Hope all is well with y'all. Hope you're having a great day. If not, I hope the rest of your day get better. But I got two messages for y'all today, so I'm gonna get straight into the first one. So the title of this video is gonna be "Stop Picking at My Scab." Stop picking at my scab. So of course you're gonna be like, "What are you talking about?" So I explain. So we all, those that were being normal kids outside, getting dirty in the playground, playing around, roughing around, just being a kid. We all have, fell off a bike, fell running, got hurt playing around with other kids, just doing different things that kids do. Just being rough and just being outside, or even if you was in the house, it didn't just have to be outside. Could have got hurt inside the house anywhere. So, but we all been there where we done scraped our knees, scraped our arms, got cuts. Some of us might have, broken bones and different things like that. So it's different things that happen to us as kids. And even as adults, you get scars, things happen. You cut yourself, different things can happen. You might fall, you might scrape your, like I say, you scrape your knee, scrape your arm, different things happen. So we all have been there in life where we have, got some type of injury as far as, falling or getting a cut or something, a scrape or bruise, and it could potentially leave a scar. So when you do get a cut and stuff like that from either a scrape in the knee, falling on the floor, injuring yourself, whatever the case was, we all have to clean the wound and also let it heal properly. So you might put cocoa butter on it, you might put shea butter on it, you might put mercurochrome. It's different things, peroxide. It's different things that we would do to clean the wounds and stuff like that so it can heal properly. So in the case of that, this is why I got that message for the title, Stop Trying to Peel Back My Scab, because as kids, we always had a habit of picking at our scabs. And adults always told us that stop picking at your scab because it's not going to heal correctly. It's not going to heal correctly. You're going to leave a scar. But a lot of us still was being naive and ignorant to what they were saying to us because we thought it was interesting to pick at the scab. And when we did pick at the scab, it leaves a bad scar. It doesn't heal as well when you just leave the scab alone and you just continue to put shea butter on it, A&D ointment on it. Different things that can help heal it faster and help heal it correctly so it doesn't leave as bad of a scar or no scar at all where it's visible like that, versus if you picking at the scab, it's going to leave a very terrible scar. So I'm applying this to life. At times in life, there's going to be people that come on the path. It could be back into your life or just people that come into your life. It could be new people. There's going to be times that there's going to be people that try to pick at that scab. And that scab could be traumatic things that happen to you, traumatic events, things that you might be trying to get over from in a relationship, a friendship, a family dynamic, work situations, or just everyday life things, because things happen in life. Well, things happen in life. Well, we have to adjust to it, and we also have to figure out how do we overcome this issue. So there's going to be people that do that come on your path, come back into your life, or just come into your life, that they know that you have a scab there. And no matter the scab, I mean you're healing from something that happened to you, and they know that you're not fully recovered from it yet, but you're taking the necessary steps to heal. That's getting in isolation, working on yourself, analyzing the situation that you came out of, and trying to find an overall solution so you can heal properly and overcome that situation so you can, get to a better point in your life. So when you're doing that, you're going to have a scab forming on that part that you're trying to heal. But there's going to be people sometimes that come on that path that try to reignite that traumatic feeling, that traumatic experience, and try to trigger you by saying certain words, certain terms, bringing up certain people, certain events, certain things that happen that you have, put to the side, and not even put to the side, but you have finished with, and you're trying to get to the other side by healing that aspect of your life and healing from the aspect of that situation and trying to get to a better point and let that scar heal the correct way, there's going to be people that try to come in your path to not let that scar heal the right way because they want to see if they still can trigger you in some way with bringing up something that happened in that traumatic situation or with that person or anything related to that situation. So there's going to be people that do that. Not everybody, but there's people that do that because they want to see if they can still trigger you, want to see if you still have spots where they can still come in and try to pick at you. Same way they're picking at scabs, try to pick at you so they can know what triggers you still, what controls you, and what can they still do to have some type of control over you when they come back into your life or when they enter your life in order to know your buttons, know how to have some type of upper hand over you. Thank you, God. Have some type of upper hand over you because unfortunately there's people in the world that do that. They want to know your triggers. They want to know your weak spots. They want to know all these things so they can have an upper hand on you or know how to trigger you when they come in contact with you. So this is why I got the analogy of stop trying to pick at my scab because there's going to be times in life where we have to go through healing and we have to go through the correct steps in order to let that wound heal the correct way. So like I said, when you get a cut and stuff like that, you normally cleanse it with peroxide. Some people may use alcohol, but peroxide, you might use mercurochrome, you might use shea butter, A&D ointment, different things like that, so you can let the wound heal correctly and not leave such a terrible scar, because when you don't let that thing heal correctly, it's going to leave a very, very terrible scar that's going to be visible for the rest of your life, versus when you try to, let it heal correctly and take your time and don't mess with it, don't mess with the scab, and it heals the way it's supposed to heal, and the scar isn't left as, and it isn't as bad of a scar left as it would be if you was to pick at it. So this is what I mean by that analogy. Then you see the sun coming out, that's confirmation. But this is what I mean by that analogy, because we have to be careful of people that's coming on our path doing that. And we also have to be careful that we're not doing that to ourselves. So it's not just people coming on our path doing this. We can also be the ones that pick out our scab and not letting it heal correctly. So we could be the ones at times that's not taking the proper steps to heal from certain situations, or not taking the proper steps to get away from certain situations that we know we need healing from. And when we do that, that's when we leave a forever lasting bad scar. And you see people go through that all the time, where they might be stuck in the past, they might be still stuck on certain traumatic events, they might be still stuck on certain people from the past that they really should be over and really should be done with and really should have worked on through all these years and all this time that's passed, but they haven't worked on these things and they haven't healed correctly in the right way. And when something doesn't heal correctly in the right way, it's very visible to see in plain sight. It's the same when you see somebody that hasn't healed correctly from a situation. So you could still run into people and see them like, oh, okay, this person hasn't healed from the situation because they still bringing up these same old things, these same old people, and these same situations, and they're stuck. And you can see that they're looking for healing in their proper ways, but they're not taking the correct steps in order to find out exactly what to do to let that heal. And a lot of times, to let that scar that we get heal properly is taking our time, going to isolation, analyzing the situation, praying, meditating, getting rid of certain things that are toxic to ourselves, and also holding ourselves accountable for maintaining and holding on to toxic things that we know we should let go of. And that could be things that we're watching, things that we're listening to, things that we're eating, things that we're feeding ourselves mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, and even things that we're telling ourselves financially. So these are things that we do that we keep this wound open and we don't cleanse it properly, we don't take care of it properly, and we continue to pick at that scab, and then we wonder why certain wounds are still sensitive, why certain wounds have left a terrible scar on us, and why we can't seem to get out of a rut, or why we can't get out of a certain cycle. It's because we continuously pick at that scab, and we continue. As a kid, when you're picking at that scab, you're just curious. You don't know exactly the repercussions of it. You're just doing it because you're curious. But then later on, you realize, oh, this is why I have this terrible scar, because I didn't let it heal properly. Same way in life. People wonder why they're in certain spots, why certain negativity follows them, why they can't get out of a rut, why certain things don't go their way. It's because they're not letting that scab of whatever healing they need to let heal the proper way. They're not letting it heal the proper way. They're not taking the steps to heal it in the way that they should. Instead, they continuously reopening that wound. They continuously, when I say reopening that wound, they're letting people back in that they know is going to trigger them again. They're staying in that toxic cycles of thinking about themselves and how they view themselves, not viewing themselves in the highest light, but talking down to themselves and below themselves instead of trying to think above and holding themselves to a higher regard. This is how they continue to pick at that scab. And then when people don't want to get better, they continuously open that wound up more and more and more, and it creates such a more terrible scar as time goes on, because they're still involving themselves with things that were very chaotic, things that were very traumatic, things that weren't helping them at all. And a lot of times that's because people are afraid to take that big step and that big leap to change. They are scared to alter things and bring things into order, because a lot of people can't thrive when things are calm, when things are in order, when things are going right in their life. Some people, that's foreign to them because of things they seen when they were growing up and people that they're involved with, and chaos is all they know. So when things are becoming normal in their life, and when the scar and when the wound of the scab is healing, something in them just makes them want to go pick that scab, and that's that curiosity that I was referring to as a kid. Something when you see the scab healing as a kid is something that makes you want to pick it, even though you know you're not supposed to. That's the same thing people do as well when they know they're healing from a situation, but somebody comes along from the past, or something comes along on their path that they got rid of, that's testing them really, and they don't see that as a test. They don't see it as something that's going to bring them back to the same place that they're trying to get out of. And they fall victim to those things, and that's when they go and pick at that scab and open the wound right again. And then they're bleeding everywhere. The scar is now getting worse. They're not taking the proper ways to cleanse it. And when I refer to that as far as cleansing the wound, I mean that they're not taking the proper steps to cleanse themselves. They're not taking the proper steps to cleanse their mind, to cleanse their heart, to cleanse their soul, and to just cleanse everything around them overall. And this is how people end up letting people come onto their path, and letting them pick at their scab and open those wounds by saying certain things to them that trigger them, and doing things that they know that person know will bring that person back to square one again, because they don't want to see them progress, or they want to know if they could still control them, or what still triggers them, and what buttons they could push in order to make this person react a certain way. So we have to make it our due diligence and make it our responsibility to make sure that we're letting those wounds heal the correct way. We're taking our time and we're taking the proper steps to let that wound heal the correct way, and not picking at it ourselves or letting people come on our path to trigger us, to say certain things, to do certain things that will open those wounds up again. So when we do take our time, thank you God, to heal ourselves and let that wound heal correctly and do all the proper steps, when it is healed correctly and it doesn't leave as bad of a scar, when those from your past or anybody else that's trying to come as a test to trigger you and see how far you come on the journey to see if you really healed, when they do bring up your past or the things that they know triggered you, or when people come that's new on your path and they come as a test to see if you are over those triggers, because you did the healing work and you let those things and you let those traumatic situations properly heal the correct way, when people do come to test you on your path or try to test you by trying to trigger you again, it can't affect you because you did the proper healing work. You let the scab heal properly and you let the wound heal properly, and there's not a scar there. But when you don't let it do it, when you don't let it heal properly, and you don't take the time to let that process heal in the correct way, that's when people could easily trigger you, could easily control you, and easily bring you back to square one where you worked so hard to get out of. So remember that you always have to let these things heal the correct way, let it heal properly, and take your time in the healing process and look for the correct ways to heal it, so when those people come on your path to try to trigger you, they can't. And it doesn't work, and it just easily falls off it just rolls off your shoulder easily back to wherever they came from, and they can see they can't affect you the same way. So peace, blessing, much respect, much love. I love y'all. Always keep doing y'all things. Stay oriented. Like I always say, whether we run, whether we jog, whether we sprint or crawl, because life is that hard sometimes. You can't run, you can't jog, you can't sprint. Only thing you can do is crawl to your destination. But like I always say, somehow, some way, we got to make it to our destination someday. So peace, blessings, much respect, much love. I love y'all. Keep doing your thing. And to the next topic, peace.